Oh my God. Okay, first off, hey everybody, how's it going? It's Straw Hat Goofy here, your movie guy, and we are here to talk about the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer and give like a little bit of a breakdown to what we just saw. I am so sorry. Like I stayed up late last night making TikTok theories, just pretty much like emptying my brain of everything that I just saw. If you guys have watched my TikToks from the night before, then you would know that I was just kind of hyperventilating. My mind was moving at 1,000 miles per minute, and I just couldn't process it until I got it all out. So I literally stayed up till like 3 in the morning making TikToks, just throwing my theories out there. So if you guys want to check all those out, make sure you're following my TikTok. Make sure you guys check out those videos. They're drafted, and I'm gonna make some more throughout the day because I think I have a free day from work today. So anyway, so yesterday was a very large fan trailer launch event that was happening in Los Angeles and Mexico City, apparently. And I was lucky enough to go to the one in Los Angeles. Saw a bunch of my favorite creators like Subs, Taya Miller, Jasmine Amore, and Andre the Black Nerd. Andre, what's up, man? Shout out to you, bro. Just a lot of hype going on around this, and leading up to this trailer there has been a bunch of leaks, there's been a bunch of photos, there's been a bunch of rumors, Daredevil rumors, multiversal Spider-Man rumors, obviously the ones towards Toby and Andrew. There's been a lot going on when it comes to this trailer. So I look now, since I was at that fan event, I couldn't do like a big trailer reaction for you guys because one, I did try to do it and it was really dark. So you're just pretty much going to hear me screaming in the darkness. That's pretty much the best you're going to get. So if you guys want me to release me screaming in the dark, I'll do that. But I don't know if it's going to be as good as me just literally like showing you guys my reactions and like breaking it down right here. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to run through the trailer and we're just going to break everything down. We're just going to have a discussion and talk about some of these type of things. Again, I have a bunch of theories that I'm putting out on TikTok later today, but if you guys want to check out like me live thinking this as we're doing it, because I'm probably going to come up with some more theories as we're talking about this, then we can do that too. So let's break down this trailer right now and let's see like what we got. So let's watch the trailer first because I think that's the most important thing. Okay, he's in the dark, in the rain.
I've only had 1 week
We saw this. We saw that.
where my life has felt normal.
Your life ain't normal now,
That was
bro.
when you found out.
All right, so we know about this. This was just irresponsible.
When you botched that spell where you wanted everyone to forget the Peter.
Pause. Doctor Strange saying that Peter botched that spell. A friend of mine, Mace R. Windu, said that this is totally in line with Doctor Strange. I agree with him here. Like, but still, bro, you should be able to handle a kid talking while you're doing a spell. You're supposed to be the Sorcerer Supreme. You know about this?
We started getting some visitors.
All right. All right. So I want to say this. Okay, Green Goblin. So look, hearing him say that we started getting some visitors. Now, for some reason in my mind, it made me think of like a bunch of visitors, not just like 5 or 6 or whatever. Excuse me. Not just 5 or 6 or whatever, but it kind of pertains that there's going to be a lot. Now, I don't think it's going to be that, but I think it opens up the door to at least for us to speculate on that type of thing, you know, like a bunch of visitors
Universe.
from every universe, right? From every universe, and that kind of helps that theory there as well. All right, so this is very important. So Doc Ock's fighting Peter, right? His arms are normal. His arms look very much like from the original one, but now his arms are red, right? And I saw a lot of people talk about how. See, look at it. Let's take a look at the arms. That's a funny ass name. All right, so looking at these arms, like these look like Peter's nanotechnology has somehow grafted onto Dr. Octopus's arms. How does this happen? I have no idea, but I also have a theory once we finish the trailer that kind of like goes with this as well. Again, don't know if it's true. I'm just throwing things out there. I think the nanotechnology thing is way more palpable, way more understandable, easily digestible, but we'll just keep going and I'll explain that later.
Hey, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
It is a funny name though.
There are others out there. We need to send them back.
This is a cool shot. This is a cool shot.
Do this crap.
You know, all this is kind of your mess. I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word
Please.
please.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap.
Okay, pause one more time. I think him saying Scooby-Doo this crap is him pretty much saying, like, go find those villains that are out there. Because they're not all just going to come after Spider-Man off top, right? I think the main goal is for Peter to find the villains to send them back to their original timeline. I think that's the main goal. Hence, Scooby-Doo this crap, find the monsters, right? And I think that's what's going on. Okay, we got Jonah Jameson, and I wanna like really look at this right quick. Look at that. You see that smile? You see that smile? I think like him seeing this is kind of like him going like, oh yes, I'll be able to discredit Spider-Man here, right? Like I'm just really like kind of wondering what this smile means. And I have a bunch of out there theories. I won't really like that involves Chameleon. I'm not even gonna say it because it just seems really, really out there. But I just found it was very curious that we got Jonah Jameson smiling like this after seeing Electro.
Flying out into the darkness to fight ghosts.
Very cinematic.
What do you mean?
They all die fighting Spider-Man.
This is my favorite part of the trailer. Him trying to save villains.
I'm sorry, kid.
I'm sorry too.
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah.
Don't.
At odds. At odds.
Look, there has to be another way.
There isn't.
Oh man. See this right here. This right here. So I have a so I'm pretty sure this is the nanotechnology. It looks like the nanotechnology when we slow it down. It really does. Still have a theory that I think could be pretty cool, but I just want to know, how did the nanotechnology get onto this? Like, did he just figure it out in a second? I don't know. Yo, he looks so clean. He looks so clean. So, ooh, he cold. Like, I even love the comic book accurate, like Electro look. Like, guys, like even the face plate that's like all made of electricity. Whew. And look, Doc Ock looks to be fighting him. Like, this looks like Doc Ock is still like on his path of redemption from Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2, and it seems that he's going to be fighting Electro. So that seems to be pretty cool.
You're struggling.
Oh my God, this quote right here.
To have everything you
This quote right here.
while the world tries to make you choose.
Yeah. All right, three villains, right? And Doc Ock is nowhere to be found. Now, obviously, we know that Green Goblin is going to try and come after him. We don't know for how long in the movie. It could be just for one scene, but this seems to be the climax of the film. These three villains, right? So, be that as it may.
This is all my fault. I can't save everyone.
Okay. They probably died. All right. Okay. We already know this right here. So many references. So many references. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Whew. All right.
What's happening?
They're starting to come through, and I can't stop.
All right. All right, so let's work our way backwards, right? Let's work our way backwards from this. Now, a lot of people say that when he says they're starting to come through, a lot of people will assume that he's talking about Toby and Andrew are coming through, right? But those are only two guys, right? And even if there was like an army of spider people coming through, I don't think Doctor Strange will be like trying to like hold them back and say, oh, they're starting to come through and I can't keep them from it. No, I don't think it's as who's coming through. I think it's a matter of like what's coming through. And the what in this instance is the multiverse, right? Because the way I see it is that these villains are being pulled into this universe and they're almost being integrated into this universe. So what I'm thinking is maybe this is like almost a version of the MCU doing a Battle World scenario, where in the comics Battle World was pretty much an amalgamation of multiple universes in one, and it was ruled over by like Doctor Doom and whatnot. So I think right now it's like, it's not just a matter of like, oh, the people are coming out of different universes. The reason that they're coming out of different universes is because the universes are almost like blending together, right? And this is very smart, because if Marvel wanted to do like the Sam Raimi universe or the Amazing Spider-Man universe, they could easily incorporate elements into the MCU and not have to retell those villain origin stories because we know them already. So that's a cool way to like give Spider-Man his rogues gallery super duper quick, and that way we don't have to see any more origin stories for the villains. We'll get like 10-20 movies of Spider-Man fighting Electro, Spider-Man fighting Doc Ock, and those type of things. So this is really smart. This is the thing that I would go with. And then this also goes with my theory of the different villains looking slightly different than their original counterparts. So let's go to the scene with Doc Ock, right, getting this red look, right? So obviously we already talked about how this could be just an instance of Doc Ock getting the nanotechnology from Peter's suit, because then like in this scene where they're fighting, you see, let's go back a little bit more. In this scene where they're fighting, sorry. Where is it? Where is it? Hello, Peter. That's what we're looking for. Okay. Here. So in the scene that he's fighting, as you can see, there is a piece in the in his armor that is like empty, and we saw that happen in Infinity War where Tony Stark got a piece ripped off, so he had to kind of like accommodate the missing the pieces, or he had to get creative. Like, so if there was a piece missing in his arm and he needed it to like shoot it into his other arm, he would just move the nanotechnology to the other arm, if that makes sense. Or if like for instance, Thanos knocked off the nanotechnology from his helmet, so that left his face exposed, but Tony just pretty much moved the nanotechnology to his head, so if Thanos punched him, then he wouldn't, get his head obliterated. So I think that's the same case here. So it's very likely that the nanotechnology from Peter's suit is happening here, but I still think, give me 1 second. But I still think, so this is the theory. So if all the universes are pretty much like mashing in together, and Peter is trying to find a way to save these villains, because if they go back to their own universes, they're going to die, then he's pretty much trying to almost find a way for them to live in their universe. And it's already kind of happening, right? So I think like what's happening here is that Doc Ock is officially being integrated into this universe, right? He's getting his own thing. He's getting his own kind of like origin story here. And I think this kind of gets backed up when we first see characters like Electro. And I believe, if I can just go back a little bit, right here, in this scene right here, when we see Electro, right, he looks very much like the Electro from the from the Mark Webb Amazing Spider-Man universe, where he's blue, right? This is still like a blue Electro. So if Electro comes into this universe, gets pulled in right before he dies, he doesn't die, but if he gets pulled in and he's, blue, then how does he get from blue to this? How does he get from blue to this, right? And I think this is another instance of him being integrated into this universe, and that's a result of the multiverse kind of collapsing in on itself. And then also another version of this, right, is we have Green Goblin here. We have Green Goblin right here, right? This is the original Green Goblin suit. Everything is down to a T, all the way down to the bomb, right? So how do we get from here to this, right? And I also have another theory that this could possibly be like a Harry Osborn, New Goblin, or Dane DeHaan type of Harry Osborn, Green Goblin situation. But this seems to be Norman Osborn's new suit, which could be as a result of the multiverse collapsing on itself. So it looks new, like things start to change, that type of stuff. Things are already happening that's like pretty magical, and like, when the multiverse starts like collapsing on itself, where it's just creating amalgamation of our characters. So that's just like my theory right there, is that each character is kind of like, getting their own thing. But yeah, so there's a lot to really talk about here. We can like go on for days. So this suit, I'm very curious to see what this suit is, because we see the suit in like 2 different incarnations, right? Now, I think this one is called the insulated suit, and I think this one helps him fight characters like Electro, but it also has magical properties that we've seen in like leaks from like toys and merch and things like that. So it might be even more than that. But what I'm starting to wonder, and I'll show you the clip right here, is a fucking really rad suit, by the way, but right here, right? As you can see, it has magical properties. And if you look in the center, there is a plate, or maybe it looks like even a phone, where we actually see MJ and Ned. Now, this is kind of hard to like really talk about, because why would he need them on his chest, right? And it's almost as if this is like a version of you remember the suits, the quantum suits in Avengers Endgame that allowed them to travel throughout the quantum realm? What if Peter created like almost a magical suit with Doctor Strange that would allow him to travel through the multiverse, right? Like, what if that was the thing? What if like him saying Scooby-Doo this crap is go to these different multiverses, I need you kids to go to these different multiverses, find these villains, and put them back where they came from, right? And that's why we have the title No Way Home, because he's jumping not only from his universe, the MCU, but he's jumping to other universes where villains aren't supposed to be there. And what if like villains like Electro, like Sandman, like Lizard are trying to take over or do things in other universes they're not supposed to? So that's my theory on this thing right here, because we do see in merch that Peter is like shooting out kind of like magical webs. So it seems to be the case. I like that theory a lot, and I think this plate with Peter in the center could be like a way of him communicating with them multiversally, if that's a word, like, through multiverses, because they don't have multiversal cellular devices, I'm assuming. America Chavez should, but we'll talk about that during Multiverse of Madness. But yeah, so that's what I think what's going on with this suit. I think it's a pretty good theory, and I haven't made a TikTok on that yet, so you guys just honestly saw me think of it live. But yeah, let's keep it going. Now, this is very intriguing as well. So they fight. Now, I do think Dr. Octopus, and we already saw that Dr. Octopus is going to be fighting Electro later on in the trailer. I think Dr. Octopus is going to be in a more mentorship role, similar to what he did with Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi universe. And he doesn't seem to want to be fighting. I don't know if they knock him out and they put him here. But this situation definitely looks like a situation of trust, like a circumstance of trust where, like, obviously he's not evil, but obviously they just got into this big old fight. So, you have to put him away. And then he's telling them, like, you're fighting ghosts, and he's pretty much put into this twisted mentorship role. Because as we saw, if this is the Alfred Molina, the Doc Ock from the Sam Raimi universe, which we're led to believe it is, he's already on his redemption path, right? So maybe he was just going crazy because he saw this Spider-Man, and, that's what they do. They fight. So, plus, he was, like, moments from death, so he could be, like, kind of like loopy, especially traveling from different universes, right? His atoms may not be too jazzed about being from different universes. So, I like this. I like the fact that he's still in that mentorship role. I think that's very strong. I think it's pretty cool. So, yeah. That's a funny name. There's another thing that I really wanted to talk about. So there are multiple references. In this trailer alone that references other Spider-Man franchises, and I'm gonna point them out to you right now. So one of the ones that I really, really like is this bomb moment. This bomb moment reminds me so much of the moment where Peter in Spider-Man 3 got thrown a bomb at him from Harry, and he whipped it back and threw it back at Harry, and it was this awesome slow-mo shot of him, like, getting hit like that. It's pretty much like almost a shot for shot thing, except in this instance Tom Holland is, like, actively trying to stop the bomb from blowing up versus, like, somebody getting blown up by that. So that's one reference to Spider-Man 3. Then there's another reference to, obviously, the Amazing Spider-Man that everyone's talking about, and that's seeing MJ fall here, very similar to the Gwen Stacy falling, right, on the clock tower. And then you have the reach out. The only thing is, it's kind of less corny without the, the web stretching out to become a hand, but it's very reminiscent of that, right? So there's things to that. But one of my favorite references to the original Spider-Man movie, and this is for Spider-Man 1, is hearing him say this.
Peter, you're struggling to have everything you want while the world tries to make you choose.
So the fact that Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is saying this, I love it, because that's what he was saying in the first Spider-Man movie, right? In the very last scene where he's throwing MJ off the bridge along with those kids on the train or whatever that cart was, he was telling them that this is what's wrong with being a hero, because you never know when some lunatic is going to come with a sadistic choice. And he pretty much was giving him the choice to choose who's going to die, the woman that he loves or suffer the little children. And that was it, right? And that's literally the core of Spider-Man, and that's why a lot of people consider Green Goblin his arch nemesis. I do, as well as Doc Ock. But the reason why is because, very much like the Joker to Batman, the Green Goblin forces Spider-Man to truly live by his code of, with great power there must also come great responsibility. So the fact that he's telling him, like, hey, you cannot have it all. You cannot have, like, your girlfriend know who you are. You can't have your best friend know who you are. You can't live this life and expect people not to die, right? And in this film, we know that Peter is trying to save these villains from dying because that's who he is. And then we see later on in the trailer where he says, I can't save everyone, right? And it's Peter kind of like weighing those choices of what he wants versus his responsibility, right? And even then, as Dr. Stranger put it, he botched the spell because he was saying, hey, maybe MJ can know who I am. I don't want everyone to, like, forget who I am. But it's like, no, dude, that's the choice that you've made. You don't want people to know that you're Spider-Man, but at the same time, you want to have your cake and eat it too, and you can't do that, right? So that I just love that they're bringing that kind of idea to this version of Spider-Man, because I've already made this TikTok about it. Is when it comes to Spider-Man in the MCU, his Spider-Man story was more of a coming of age tale, and his things were very much reactionary, right? He wanted to be an Avenger, so he got tangled up with the Avenger. His girlfriend's dad was the Vulture, and he was stealing stuff already, so he was just kind of like, hey, I'll go take care of that. Even in Far From Home, he just wanted to leave everything behind, not because of his duty as Spider-Man or anything like that, but he just wanted to, get with the girl they liked, have a vacation, that type of stuff. Here, I really do feel like, as Tom Holland would say, this is a culmination of his arc, and this is Spider-Man pretty much coming into his own and making his own decisions and saying, no, this is the choice that I'm going to make. Even though you're telling me that these people should die, my responsibility is to make sure they live, right? And then here comes Green Goblin challenging that once again. So it's actually very, very fantastic that we're actually getting this, and I'm really, really excited for it. Look at these. Okay. And lastly, we could talk about this. All right, so right here, obviously, we can talk about this all day, but honestly, I'm going to keep this very brief. We know that there are multiple Spider-Man here. I was in that theater watching this trailer, and immediately I thought of the scene from Infinity War, the first trailer, where we see all the Avengers in Wakanda, including the Hulk in the background in full Hulk form running in Wakanda, which obviously we never got because that was just shot for the trailer. Or it was shot for the movie and they took it out, however it happened. So I really do believe that this is the same kind of thing that's happening right here, where we have Tom Holland, probably Tobey Maguire, and probably Andrew Garfield, each one taking on a different villain. Because as you can see, Lizard's not looking at anyone right here. So he's not. And then you have Electro, who's not looking at Tom Holland here. Now it looks like Sandman's looking at Tom. So this is obviously a 3-on-3 type of situation. Obviously, I've already talked about how Dr. Octopus is probably going to be more of a hero here, and Willem Dafoe probably was already defeated at this point, but he might come later on because we saw that other version of him. But this also lends credence to the theory and the leak that happened a couple months ago of Andrew Garfield pretty much in full Amazing Spider-Man costume while near some scaffolding. And here's the scaffolding. This is it right here. So a lot of stuff is confirmed right here, and we already know about the Brazilian trailer where we see the Lizard literally get punched or kicked by an invisible person. So the cat's out of the bag. We know what's going on here. I can talk about this for days, but I don't think we need to. We know what the vibes are. Look at Sandman though. Sandman looks really. The fact that he looks more like a cloud than more of the solid thing that he did in Spider-Man 3, I kind of like that. It's kind of more ominous, kind of more scary. Okay, there goes the monument. But yeah, here it is right here. So most people forget Ned is also falling. And let me put this to bed right now. Ned is not the Hobgoblin. Just because he lost weight doesn't mean he's the Hobgoblin. He probably just did it for his health. That's fine. But Ned is not going to be the Hobgoblin. I saw somebody throw out this theory that Ned is going to pretty much see that Peter is always going to choose MJ over him, and so that's what turns him evil. No, that's some Cedric Diggory stuff from The Cursed Child, where he got blown up like Aunt Marge, and he got so humiliated he became a Death Eater and killed Neville Longbottom. No, I don't want to subscribe to that idea. Now, multiversal Ned could be very interesting, and if it goes with my theory that the universes are collapsing in on each other, that could happen. But again, that's a way out there theory. I don't really subscribe to it. But yeah, Ned is also up there. But you got to remember also there's 3 Spider-Man, right? So let's talk about this right here. So obviously we talked about how this is the Gwen Stacy moment, right? Now what if? And I think a lot of people thought this immediately. A lot of people. I thought this. I looked at Soups. He thought this. I looked at Jasmine. She thought this. What if Tom Holland misses? What if for whatever reason he misses? And MJ is actually saved by Andrew Garfield. And when he saves her, he looks at Tom and says, I couldn't let that happen again. Because he failed in his universe to save Gwen Stacy. And he couldn't see another Peter Parker lose someone that he loves. I think that's pretty cool. And I honestly, I'm not going to say if we don't get that, I would be disappointed. If we do get that, though, I would cry my eyes out and I would cheer till my head explodes. But then also, back to this Ned thing, right? Because remember, she's not the only one falling. And since we're saying that Andrew is going to save Zendaya, I think maybe Toby is going to save Ned. I could totally see a moment where obviously Tom is going to take Zendaya over anybody else, right? So Tom is going to take Peter is going to take MJ over anybody else. So he's going to go after her. He'll miss. Andrew will save her. Cool. But what about Ned? I think Ned will be saved by Toby, and I think right before that moment happens, they'll all see what's going down. Tom is going to leap into action. Toby is going to say, don't worry, I got Ned, you go get her. Because that's his MJ. And Peter knows, and Toby's Peter knows full well what putting an MJ in danger feels like, right? So he's like, I know you need to go get your girl, right? I'll go get Ned. And that's how Ned gets saved. So this is just me kind of predicting the movie at this point. Just, you know, I wouldn't say predicting, I would say just more like making suggested predictions, I guess. But yeah, so guys, there's a lot talked about this. They're starting to come through. So one last bit I'm gonna say about this, right? First off, this looks very much like Loki. It looks very much like the ending of Loki. I'm gonna just say that right now. The sacred timeline is already broke. We know this. But last thing I'm gonna say about this, and we're gonna end the video. How cool would it be that if the universes are collapsing in on themselves, right? This is how we get X-Men. This is how we get the Fantastic Four. Spider-Man is the way to introduce all these things for Phase 5. Because we know they're coming, right? So that would be really dope if this is how the universe changes forever. And Multiverse of Madness is pretty much Doctor Strange being thrown into and seeing even more multiverses that are in there. So I really like the theory that this is where not only Spider-Man things come in, because it wouldn't be just Spider-Man things, right? It will be everything from different universes. He said from every universe. So a universe where there's mutants, now they're in the MCU because now it's integrated. A universe with the Fantastic Four, now it's part of the MCU because it's integrated. And then you could tell those origin stories. I know you guys hate origin stories. You could tell those stories by just simply having just saying like, oh, this is what was happening in their universe before they were pulled in. Boop, boop, bop. Like, there we go. Marvel Studios, pay me later. But I really like that. Anyway, guys, that is the video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure if you want to watch more of my videos, make sure you hit that bell to get notifications for every videos that I make. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit the subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And also leave a comment. What did you think about the video? What theories do you have? I'm really excited to see. I'm so glad I'm getting this out because, like I said, I've been hyperventilating for like the last 12 hours. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, make sure you follow my IG, follow the TikTok, everything that you can do. And listen to Geeks of the Week, the podcast. You guys have a great day. It's been so lovely chatting with you. Goodbye.